Hey guys, what's up? It's Johnny here and welcome to another episode of The SIC Show. And as always, I'm super pumped to be here. I'm here with my main man, B. How you feeling today, brother?
Brilliant.
He's feeling the love. This week on the show, I'm going to share you a little story of how the assignment for the lounge has inspired me to create this awesome macro that I'm also going to inspire you with.
Yeah, and I interview Matthew Shipp, a photographer from the Share, Inspire, Create Lounge, and he gives us great tips on what to do in your first commercial photo shoot.
Awesome, man. Let's get into it.
Enjoy.
The SIC Show. Share, Inspire, Create.com. Share.
All right, guys, I'm going to share with you a little story about a little photography trip I went on, and all inspired by one of our assignments from the SIC Lounge. So what we encourage our people in the lounge to do, the people in the community.
The photographers.
Yeah, the photographers to do.
Great photographers.
Yeah, that's it. Is to go out in the field and capture an image related to the monthly assignment. Yeah. And this one happened to be detailed, which I love, because I love going shooting macro. So I went out this beautiful morning. It wasn't much of a sunrise, so it was a perfect time for macro. And I found these beautiful bits of dew glistening in the sun just on grass.
Ah, lovely.
And if you can isolate a subject like that, it makes for a beautiful, beautiful macro image. But the moral of the story is it forced me to go out and look for something to capture for the assignment and use skills that I may not normally do, you know?
Yeah.
Because if I'm a landscape photographer and I go out and I just shoot wide all the time, and I love shooting wide, and there's nothing wrong with shooting wide, but it's forcing me to narrow down whether with a long lens or a macro lens and pick out details in the landscape, and for me to learn, you know, just a different way of photography. And I think that's what's so powerful about the assignments, mate.
So it takes you out of your comfort zone.
It does.
And it gives you something to focus on.
Yes.
So something new that you may not do every day.
And it gives you inspiration too. Yeah. You know, it gives you the inspiration to go out and do something different. You know, that's awesome. So there you go.
Are we going to see this image?
Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it in the next section.
Inspire.
All right, guys, here's the macro image I was telling you about. And you can see here what it is. It's a portrait image, and there's a curl, just a slight curl in the grass that comes down, and right at the bottom, in the bottom left lower third, there's a water droplet. And I think it's a simple subject, something that can be found really easily, but when it's isolated like this with the green tones in the background, I think it just makes for a beautiful image.
Yeah, lovely, man. I love it. And I just love the way my eye comes in from the top right and goes all the way down to that water droplet. And the water droplet is super sharp, man. Can you zoom in on that?
Yeah, yep.
Awesome.
So you can see.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah,
I love it. And look at that magnification through the water droplet. So you can see the backs of the grass, the back of the grass magnified through the water droplet. And love it, man. It's so what lens did you shoot this with?
So I've got a 105 macro. Okay. And I often put my 1.4 converter on it because the 105 macro is a 2.8. It's only around $1,000 lens, so it's not, it's not like a massive expensive macro lens because you can get the 180 and the 200mm lens for a couple of $1,000s. You know. Yeah. So what I tend to do, because it's nice with a macro lens to have a bit of length. You can get cheaper ones that are around 60mm and stuff like that, but the problem is you got to get so close to your subject, it makes it really hard to capture macro. Yeah. So I've got the 105, it's sort of a mid-range lens. I put my teleconverter I've got on it, which then makes it a f4 lens, because you only lose one stop with the 1.4. But then that gets me around 150mm.
Okay.
So which is good.
And you're shooting that on a full frame.
So that's on the full frame. And yes, and then we go to a crop, we can add another 75mm. So I get over my 200mm on my crop body, which I could do. Yeah. You know. I decided to use the full frame for this because I was shooting a slightly higher ISO. I was shooting 800 ISO for this image. Okay. And the reason was there was a slight breeze in the morning. So the subject was moving. So I had to take the shot in between little gusts, not slight, obviously something this small. We're talking the drop is like, as big as smaller than my little thumbnail. Yeah. So you can imagine even me breathing's got this thing moving. So
reasonably fast shutter speed.
Yeah, that's it. 1/25. And that's right. So I cranked the ISO to do that. But guys, I still had it set up on a tripod. I still manually focused. A good tip with macro too, if you manually focus in live view and then zoom into the subject where you want that point of interest and just dial in a bit of manual focus, and that's how you get your focus spot on with this. Yeah. So, and I did shoot at f8. And the reason why F8 is because there was that tiny bit of movement. I mean, just to give me a slightly a wider depth of field. That's all.
Yeah.
You know,
so the grass was moving away and back towards you a little bit.
Well, it was moving all over. So you just sort of had to wait. You know, and I wouldn't have had time to refocus in between the gusts of wind. So all these little things to think about when you capture this. Now,
and then you composed it. So that's how you actually shot it. Did you crop in at all, or
I cropped a tiny bit because I probably could have shot this on my crop body, to be honest.
Okay.
So it was a little bit longer land.
Okay.
But so it has been cropped a tiny bit. But you know, I had this image in mind. I knew when I shot this that I wanted to have the line coming down from the top right and into the bottom and left lower third like that, and where I already had it and envisaged where I was going to crop this in the field. And that's something that's good to have insight where you want to finally take your image, you know. So a couple of things I would have done different. And I've got to say, one of these tips has come from the lounge, okay?
Yeah.
If you get something black when you're shooting water droplets and you put it near the subject as close as you can without putting it in the frame, what that black thing will do, it will get picked up by that water droplet and actually give it a bit of an outline.
So more contrast.
It'll add a bit more contrast. And you can see, it could probably do with a little bit, just around that top edge, you know?
Yeah.
So that's one thing I would have done different. Second thing I would have done different, and I did a fairly good job of removing everything brown. There was a couple of browner leads in the background there.
Yeah.
So the background is as important as the foreground when you're shooting so shallow like this. So I did remove brown things in the background, which is great. But you know what? There's still one distracting thing that if I didn't point it out, you probably wouldn't see it.
That over there?
Yeah.
That line?
Yeah. So there's a line coming down. There's a line of grass coming down from the top left to the centre.
Yeah.
I would have liked to remove that.
Okay.
So there was nothing in that scene that would distract your eyes except that one thing.
Yeah.
So that's my few tips for macro, mate.
That's great.
Yeah.
I love that image. It's such a beautiful, I mean, I'd love to actually print that and put it on a wall really, really large. I mean, that's the kind of thing that people would invest in and
beautiful.
And hang, you know, because it is just a beautiful green. We should just call it green, right?
The green.
Green
love.
That's great.
That's it, guys. That's how I go about this. That's how I went about this macro shot. Anyway,
awesome. Thanks for that, Johnny.
Create.
Okay, guys, in the Create section, I'm going to show you an interview that I did with Matthew Shipp. He's one of the members in the Share, Inspire, Create Lounge, and it's a case study of a commercial shoot. It's his very first commercial shoot, and he photographed a pub, and he wanted to do it the right way. So he asked a lot of questions in the lounge. He got all sorts of feedback. Then he actually went out, photographed the pub, came back with all these images. And in this interview, he gives me like 3 or 4 really good tips. If you're going to do a commercial photo shoot for the first time and you're a little bit scared, you should watch this interview. It's really cool.
That's amazing. Hey, I got a question for you. What did he photograph? A pub.
A pub.
A pub.
A pub.
AKA a bar.
Yes, a pub.
Awesome, man. Let's get into the interview, bro.
Awesome. Enjoy. All right. Hey, guys. It's Brent here from the ShareInspireCreate.com or the SIC show or the SIC lounge. And today I got Matthew on the other line there. Matthew Shipp is a member in the SIC lounge forum, the community we got for photographers. And I'm just going to run through a little case study of that Matthew had when he had a photography problem. He put it into the forum and got some answers. How are you doing, Matthew?
Pretty good. How are you?
Yeah, great. And tell whoever's watching this where you're from.
I'm from St. Louis, Missouri.
Okay.
Right middle of the country. So.
Good. Awesome. And awesome. So let's just jump straight in. What Matthew did was he started a thread in the forum called Dark Room Shiny Objects. And tell us a little bit about the shoot, Matthew. What was your main problem that you thought was going to happen at this commercial shoot that you had?
My initial problem was you see in the background of this picture all the gleaming glass objects and everything, and I was really worried about being overwhelmed with specular highlights. And in the end, when I got there, that wasn't the case because it was a cloudy, rainy, horrible day. So I had a new challenge that came to me, and that was shooting in very low light.
Oh, okay. So initially, just so people know, you were commissioned by this pub or this restaurant to photograph it for advertising purposes, right? To try and attract people to this place.
Yeah, that's Brian there in the picture. I just snapped that. I belong to this wine club for a while now, and I snapped that picture, put it up on Facebook, told him, just said, hey, look where I've been. And he contacted me later, saying I really captured the mood in that shot. He wondered if I would want to do some photos, and I was, great. So we went in, talked what I was going to do, talked price, and it was a half-day process. He wanted me to shoot his bar, really show off the wine bar, and mostly for social media. And then later on that night, he wanted me to come back and shoot an event he had with a local band, and people having a good time. And I tried to do my best to portray both of those. So he's seemed to be pretty happy with them. A few of the challenges I had was in the middle of a shoot, one of my backup battery gave out, and so I was limping along on a half-dead battery until my wife saved me and brought in a new battery. And then, but that was just one of the challenges. Some of the challenges you see with a lot of low light. So I had a lot of long exposures. There was some flash stuff in there, and I had a lot to learn about. But there were some great suggestions on in the post on using gels or just warming it up in Lightroom post, which I did. Give it a warm feeling because that place there always has this kind of a warm glow to it anyway. So I really wanted to portray that. So that was some good advice. And I think you gave me a couple pieces of advice about getting close and getting that nice shallow, creamy depth bokeh and using it to isolate images of the wine bottles and such.
Totally. And if I remember right, I asked you a lot of questions about, what was the purpose of the shoot? What were you trying to do? What is the final outcome that the owner wanted? So why are they paying you to shoot it? And and I think you said it was to attract people. They put it on their website, show how friendly the pub is, and also get people that are happy and kind of mingling around and give it that warm feeling.
Yes.
So I think that's a lot of important things. If anyone's ever doing a commercial shoot, and I do quite a few of them, I sit down with the client, for quite a long time, and we kind of run through why they want me to shoot it. Because often people will come to you and they'll say, look, can you photograph my bar or my pub or restaurant? And you don't know why they want to do that. So if you just go in and photograph it just the way it is, the customers probably won't be happy because they actually want a certain look to attract the certain customer. So those are a lot of questions I asked you. And did it get you thinking at all?
Yeah, and there was also those questions I relayed to the customer as well, and it kind of helped him, help both of us gel together some ideas. So he was really into just selling the mood of the place. So that was probably the most useful piece of information I got out of him.
Okay, cool. And I know a lot of other people put comments in there too, Matthew. What else did you take out of the SIC Lounge, the community? Once you put it in there. Maybe I should ask the question a little bit differently. Would you have photographed the place differently if you didn't get this information from everyone in the community?
Maybe a little different. I don't think my thinking wasn't as focused until after I talked to the community. That kind of helped focus me in, again, relay that information to the customer, and together we both came to a better understanding of what he wanted. So yeah, okay. I think I was a little more scattered beforehand, and I was a little more focused afterwards.
All right. So any tips you can give people that are doing a first-time commercial shoot? Like a couple of things that you learned from the shoot, and even things that you learned before the shoot. What the certain questions you should maybe ask, setting the expectation of the customer, and what things could go wrong, and how you should kind of prepare for things that might happen during the shoot.
First step: triple check your equipment. Don't let your batteries explode on you in the middle of a shoot. That's a bad deal.
Okay, so with the batteries exploding, like what actually happened there?
It just did not. It gave me. It had a full charge on it, and I put it in my battery. And it said no longer compatible with this camera. I'm like, what?
Oh.
I've been using the battery for 2 years and had no problems. So, yeah, no matter what I did, so it just stopped. recognizing my camera.
So I have extra batteries, extra equipment, backup equipment.
It doesn't hurt to rent before you buy. I did rent a lens for this, a wide angle, with something I was lacking, and that really saved me. In fact, I probably use that about 60% of the time.
That's a really good tip. Yeah.
You can save some money on the back end with that, especially if you're not going to use that lens a lot. Just rent for the situation.
And can you actually pass that rental charge or the rental cost onto the customer? So can you add it to your invoice or factor it in somehow?
I did a little bit, and I probably should have factored in a little more, but that's another thing. Lessons learned. First time doing a real business shoot, so next time through, I'll know a little more. Know a little more the second time through.
Yeah, so about like pricing and actually pricing your time. And because did it take you a lot longer than you expected, like with the editing, the post-processing of the photo shoot?
The post didn't quite take as long as it took about as long as I expected. What took me a lot longer was once I was in there shooting, realizing, okay, I only got so much time to get all this done. And even though and that was another thing I did, make a checklist. It is, if you do not make a checklist, you're going to be wandering around aimlessly, just completely lost. When you have all these great ideas in your mind, once you get down to the photography, you got to do the work. That goes out the window. So have a checklist with you.
That's a great tip there, Matthew. And whenever I've photographed weddings, I always had a checklist, basically a shot list of all the images that I had to have, and then some optional images. So I put maybe the top 10 images that I had to have, and then I'd go for the optional ones if I had time. Because you're right, when you get stressed and there's people around you and everyone's kind of breathing down your neck when you're photographing, and you're thinking about lighting and you're thinking about where people should be and what their mood should be, and there's so many other things to think about. And with that stress, sometimes you might forget which images you should be actually capturing. So that's a great tip for everyone. A checklist or a shot list.
Yeah, surprisingly, the prep time before the shoot took me a lot longer, a lot more time than I expected than the actual after the shoot, post-processing.
All right. So give me times that you think you actually spent on this project.
How much time? I probably spent, 6-7 hours before I even do the shoot, just setting up, getting ideas, hunting down for examples. I would go through other photography places with shot bars and get ideas, pull those ideas in, and kind of build myself a kind of a mental shot list, and then turn that shot list into a checklist. So there was a lot more upfront than I expected. So 5-6 hours easy. And then
the actual shoot.
And then the actual shoot was almost a half day. I started at about 1:00. I shot till about 5, and then I got dinner, and I came back and shot for another about 3 or 4 hours, probably 3 hours. And that was the event with the band and the people and the pub. Right. And then by that time, I was at the end of my rope creatively. I couldn't come up with any more interesting things to do.
And then the post-processing part?
Post-processing, I think over about 2 days, at about an hour and a half, 2 hours each day.
Okay. All right. So in total, I'm seeing 2.5 days of work, right, for that job.
Yeah.
Maybe more, maybe 3 days with going back and forth to the client, submitting invoice and stuff. So maybe 3 working days for you. And do you think you charged accordingly?
No. Way less than I should have. But I myself wasn't I was confident as I could be, but just going into the unknown, I wanted to be fair to him. He asked me, I've been a customer of his for a long time, so this is the first time the roles had flopped. So there was a lot of things going on. But you did give me a good piece of advice when I was kind of nervous about doing it, was fake it until you make it.
Yes.
So
and did it work?
Yeah, it helped. He asked a few questions, like, I occasionally I use the terms working knowledge of what I'm doing. So, but now I have that knowledge. So
awesome. Well, thanks for that, Matthew. You've given us some great tips, and anyone watching this, some great tips for when you're doing a commercial shoot. And I think, one of the good tips is fake it before you make it. So you don't have to be an expert. You don't have to have all this experience when you go do a commercial shoot. You just need to have the confidence that you can actually get through it okay. And charge. The second bit of advice I would say from this commercial shoot is charge for the actual hours you put in. So if you think the shoot's going to be 1 or 2 hours, it's going to end up being 3 days of your time. So 8 hours of working, which actually might be longer because you don't always work 8 hours in a day when you're working for yourself. You maybe only work 5 hours. So it actually might be longer. And then also take spare batteries and spare, equipment, rent equipment. That's a really good one that you gave the people watching this. Rent equipment. You don't have to buy. You don't have to have all the best gear. You just rent it for the day. And I would say you need to put that in the invoice to your customer as equipment costs. Special equipment costs for this certain event, and a checklist. Having a checklist of things that you want to photograph. I think that's a great suggestion. Now, anything else, Matthew, you want to say about the lounge and how it's helped you with your photography? And I'll share the screen of the Share, Inspire, Create Lounge again.
Really, it seems like everybody's there to help each other out, share knowledge as much as they can, ask lots of questions. That's the best thing, is that this gives me a place to ask lots of questions, to get a lot of opinions back. You and Johnny just have this unending well of energy to keep up with us. I don't know how you do it, but you do.
Yeah.
It's a really nice, great place to be. It's everybody's really there to help you. When I have a piece of information I feel I can share, I go ahead and do that as well. The critiques are particularly helpful. Not everybody's going to be there and say, "Oh, it's a great photo. It's a great photo." There's actually some true feedback, and that's that's even a learning process. And that's a good skill you're going to develop if you're part of the community.
Yeah, and I'm just running through it now. I'm actually running through the little bit about where people actually put their images in there, and they get feedback, positive, encouraging feedback from people in the lounge. What's wrong with this picture? And then also we've got the media section, which I love. Is you can jump into this section here and have a look at what people are actually posting, and give everyone feedback on the images they're posting. So there's some really good stuff there. Matthew, thank you so much for being on this this real life case study of what's happening in the SIC lounge. I really appreciate it. Any last advice you can give to anyone wanting to improve their photography? What's the best thing they can do right now?
Keep shooting and find a group of people that are happy to help. I think
awesome.
That's one of the places to be.
Great. Well, thanks, Matthew. Really appreciate it, and I'll catch you later.
Thank you.
So there you go, man. It's been another epic show, Brent, man. I'm still so inspired looking at that image I took, and it's just, what, as a photographer, it's all about, and I've mentioned this before, it's all about the feeling you get while you're out there. And I remember that warm winter, sunny sort of morning, and the droplets glistening, on the grass, and just walking out through the bush and the birds, and I just love it, mate.
It's absolutely. Now, because it's autumn, you kind of miss that, don't you?
Yeah, actually, it's still awesome. But it's starting to get colder. So as soon as it gets cold, I say it's winter, but it's not winter yet.
No, not yet. Yeah. And great, man. Thanks for sharing that and how you've actually photographed it. It's a beautiful, beautiful image. And then Matthew's interview. The one thing that Matthew said back to me that I actually gave him a suggestion. He said, "Fake it before you make it."
Yeah, it's true.
And that's true. Something I say to everyone when they're getting into it, because you can't have that experience until you get that experience.
Yeah.
So how do you get that experience if you aren't confident?
Aren't getting experience. And
so you got to fake it before you make it. You got to imagine what you would be like if you actually had that experience.
Yep.
And you were that experienced professional photographer, and then go in and shoot it as if you were that person.
Yeah, and chances are, but you've done a lot of photography before this paid or commercial shoot. You're pretty well. You know your camera well, and you must be taking good images.
You are, but it's just something new. It's a unknown. It's way out of your comfort zone. You don't know how to quite do it yet, and that's what's great about the lounge. You put these questions or these problems lens into the lounge and you get feedback from people that have done it before.
Yeah, I just love the fact that he put in the scenario and then we gave him all these ideas and options of how to go about it. Yeah. He's implemented that and come back with such a great result.
And he actually took the questions that I asked him and he put them to the bar owner, the pub owner. You know, what's it for? Why do you want these images? How are you going to use them? And then he planned the shoot from there, put together a checklist of all the things that he needed to photograph, because when you're on the shoot you might be a little stressed because you actually don't know what you're doing. So it's really good to have a shot list of the actual photos, the photos that you need to get so you don't forget anything.
Yeah, that's a great tip.
And renting a lens for the day because he didn't have one. So you don't have to go out and buy this expensive lens. You just rent what you don't have for that day. And hopefully if you're a smart business person, you'll actually charge the customer for the rental.
That's it. And you get the experience and you get the images and get, that's one tick on, one, what am I thinking, man?
I don't know. You need a coffee, man.
Well, it's one shoot under your belt. That's what I was thinking. I knew there was an analogy there somewhere.
So it worked for him. He put it into the lounge. He got the feedback. He actually went and did the shoot. The customer's happy. He's happy. He got this great experience.
Awesome,
so that's what it's all about, guys. We highly encourage you, if you are a photographer, jump into the Share, Inspire, Create Lounge. Johnny and I and a few other 100 photographers are in there to help you.
Yep, there's a few hundred of us now, mate. Solid and strong. And guys, we've got this special deal for you. Check out the link and the annotation here. And come and check it out. And we'd love to see you in there, mate, because I'm in there every day and I'm super pumped. And mate, that's exactly like this assignment thing. Without the lounge being there and having that assignment, the monthly assignment for me to go out and shoot for, I wouldn't have created this beautiful image and I wouldn't be as inspired about, shooting macro again as I am now. So
good.
Awesome. All right, guys, thanks for watching the show. It's been another epic one. We hope you enjoyed it as much as we did creating it for you. And as always, please leave your feedback below this post and
share. Share the love.
Share the photo love, yo, because that's all you need to do. Share this post and get the word out about the show, because I know me and Brent, all we want to do, Brent and myself, because that's the proper English, Brent and myself, all we want to do is help more photographers just like you master their craft. So that's our main goal with everything we do. So
basically what Johnny's trying to say is just share the love.
Share the love,
share
yo.
This post. Awesome. See you next week.
Bye.
To find out more, go to shareinspirecreate.com.